Oh, big day today, guys. Big day today. Got a big day coming up today. Hell is going on, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Good morning. Welcome to the Sleewa Show. Cup of coffee, 8 a.m., Thursday, January 23rd. I think 2 weeks from today is the NBA trade deadline. Lakers versus Celtics tonight. A lot of good stories around Lakers basketball in the NBA. So we're going to be spending a lot of time on the Lakers and the NBA. So thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys finding some time out of your day to say, hey, what's Slee doing today? Slee's got a show today? All right, let's hang out with Slee for a little bit. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for being here. Before I get started with a rundown, quick sip of coffee. Oh, it's just a good taste. It's a good taste. It's a good cup of coffee to get the day started here. I got a quick quote for everybody here. Where did it go? Do one thing every day that scares you. Do one thing every day that scares you. I like that. I could use that damn quote. You kidding me? Get over one fear, and then all of a sudden that's a snowball effect, and then nothing bothers you. Nothing stops you. Do one thing every day that scares you. We got a great show coming up today. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys for the next hour or so. I keep saying hour. I feel like the show's getting a little bit longer. In fact, there's times where I'm like $1:10 now, $1:15. Slow down here. I did $1:30. Was that earlier this week? I did $1:30, or was that last week? I can't even remember. All right, well, we'll just go whatever is a natural flow, and however long we think the show should go, then that's how long the show will go. All right, just to kind of give everybody a quick idea what we got going on for the show today. Good morning from Crenshaw. Good morning, Dub T. Thank you for being a part of the show. Sleewa barometer game tonight. You already know. We already know. Listen, look, we'll talk about it. Talk about it a little bit down the road. Let me get to that. All right, let's give everybody a quick idea of what we got. Jared Vanderbilt was announced yesterday. I did a video is just on Jared Vanderbilt. Not too long, about 10 minutes yesterday, just an audio version of it. By the way, just so you guys know, the reason why I do audio versions sometimes is I don't have to do the whole song and dance with a setup, but I could still get content out that I want to get out. So that's why I kind of do that. So obviously these shows, when I do them, post-game shows, when I do them, for the most part, all of them are going to be video. But sometimes if you see that, it's just because I'm trying to crank out some content. Vando back. What does that mean? The impact. He could be back potentially on Saturday if he has no setbacks. And if it doesn't guarantee that he's going to play on Saturday, but I would be very surprised if Jared Vanderbilt doesn't get some PT if he's good to go this upcoming Saturday. So we'll talk a little bit about him. There was a report, an article that came out on ESPN. Shams Charania put it out. Growing concerns. Let me read the title of this because that's going to be kind of the bulk of our conversation here in the morning. Shams put this out yesterday. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, growing concerned with Lakers' ability to make significant upgrades. All right, a lot of angles on that. I'm more concerned how Anthony Davis feels before I feel about anybody else. I'll tell you that much. And also, I don't know how much those stories, when they get out, actually help Rob Pelinka go out there and make a deal. But I don't think anybody cares. Lonzo Ball back in L.A. Our boy Jovan Buha was doing a podcast, and he talked about that there could be some interest of Lakers going after Lonzo. We'll certainly talk about that. Sammy Long, who I think may have just posted the Lakers Celtics preview for tonight's game. He's doing a great job doing that. You know, I've asked him to kind of do his best on previewing the games, get everybody educated on the upcoming games. But he also has, he's a big Lakers fan. He's also very opinionated as well. So he's kind of morphed that into a little bit of, here are a couple topics. Here's the game that's coming up. So he's doing a good job. I'll bring him on at 8:30. We'll preview Lakers and the Celtics. I want to talk about the two franchises too, how really both of these teams are just kind of going in completely different directions, unfortunately. And then I got some thoughts on Jimmy Butler and that situation that's going on. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel. I asked you guys, hey, can you help me get over 28,000? Now we're at like 28,200. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. All right, let's get started. Let me see a couple of these comments here. Good morning, Slee. Vando's back. Let's Let's see what else we got here. I'm not scared of that many things to even have an everyday to. That's what I'm talking about. Go do your thing. Go get that to-do list done. Okay, this was a different angle. I didn't know that was coming. Good morning. I hope Lakers get embarrassed tonight. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's like an angle of, I don't know if you're a Celtics fan, which I don't think so, but I don't know if that also just means that will force the Lakers to go make a trade. So maybe you're doing the maybe you're playing the chess game in your own head there. All right, let's get the show started. So let me spend a quick second on Jared Vanderbilt, because we spent a lot of time on this show, over the course of the last couple of months, where people are basically saying, hey, I don't want to hear Vando's name anymore. Until we know when he's coming back, can we please stop talking about how Jared Vanderbilt is going to be the savior of the Lakers, or how he's going to be so impactful for the Lakers? We have not seen the man play in almost 1 year. That's how long it's been. Thought last year, as we're getting closer to the playoffs, hey, is Vando going to come back? Certainly in the offseason, we knew that he was doing some work actually, he had surgery on his right foot to remove a bone spur. And we know that he's been, obviously rehabbing, trying to get back. There have been setbacks. There have been very little information that's come on. Well, now I'm not here to blow smoke up anybody's, what. Now I'm here to tell you that he is cleared to play and start contributing to the Lakers this Saturday against the Golden State Warriors. Let me just say, from this perspective, the timing, they need him so bad. I did a video yesterday. I was talking about Dorian Finney-Smith and just how important he is, how critical it's going to be for the Lakers to have Dorian Finney-Smith be a contributor, how critical it is for the Lakers to know that they won that trade and make sure they didn't give up that D'Angelo Russell contract and that D'Angelo Russell asset for a player that didn't have big-time contributions to this Lakers team. Jared Vanderbilt is almost like you just made another trade. Maybe, just maybe, Rob Pelinka was making the move as early as he did for Dorian Finney-Smith, saying, okay, here's the type of player that I think J.J. Redick wants, I think the team wants. Here's a almost 45% three-point shooter. Let me bring this guy in. And, oh, by the way, I'm about to get another offseason transition or offseason acquisition. I'm about to get another one because I'm getting Vando back. I didn't make a trade, but Vando's coming back. It's almost like the Lakers just made a trade and Vando is a part of the Lakers. He'll be critical too. Now, is he going to come back and all of a sudden be a game changer for the Lakers? No. I think the way to look at Jared Vanderbilt is probably by the time you get close to the All-Star break, or maybe even after the All-Star break, is when you can kind of start seeing him. He's comfortable. JJ knows the lineups that he wants. He's back being the player that everybody needs him to be. So I think the Jared Vanderbilt news is big news, and it's real news. It's not something that I have to fabricate. It's not something that it's not a hope. He's back. And most likely we're going to see him on Saturday. And, when you look at the Western Conference, by the way, I got to check one thing here in the NBA standings, because if I'm right, which is kind of a trip, I want to check one thing here. I know Clippers lost yesterday. Lakers in fifth. Isn't that unbelievable that the Lakers are still sitting in fifth right now? I mean, if you listen to this show, and I hate freaking doing it, and I don't blame you guys. I got some people calling me out. Al, you know what? You're becoming too negative on the Lakers. I don't blame you guys for saying that. The problem is I'm just trying to be honest. And when I'm trying to be honest, and if that negativity comes, then that comes with the territory. Lakers are fifth in the Western Conference. But when you start looking at the West, let me go through all the teams. You don't think Jared Vanderbilt can help against the Oklahoma City Thunder when Shai Gilgeous is dropping 54 like he did yesterday? You don't think he can help on the Houston Rockets with guys like Jalen Green or Fred VanVleet, but more because of the athletic Jalen Green that's out there. Memphis with Ja Morant, Denver with Jamal Murray, Clippers with James Harden, Sacramento with De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, some of those other players that they have. Sacramento balling, by the way. They've won 9 of their last 10, and they're just shooting up the standings. The point that I'm trying to make is he can be very, very impactful for the Lakers. It's going to take a second. But once Vando is healthy and ready to go, that's a very important role player on this Lakers team. You know exactly who he is. You know what his strengths are. You know what he does. So I'm excited to get Vando back, and I'm excited that we could sit here on the chat and on the stream, and it's not a hope or oh my gosh, are we still talking about this guy and we have no idea when he's coming back? So I think when you play all that together, that obviously says something right there. All right, let me read a couple of these comments here. Ray Barrio, Lakers in fifth is a joke. That will change very soon. Okay. Let me play out a scenario here real quick for you. We've watched the Lakers over these last couple of years where they're maybe a game or two over 500 or they're a couple games below 500. But I'll tell you where they weren't in the standings. They weren't top 5, top 6. If Dallas was healthy, Dallas would be top 3, top 4 right now. Maybe if Sacramento didn't get off to as bad of a start as they did, they would be kind of in a similar position, top 3, top 4, or not top 3, top 5, top 6. If Kawhi played all season, maybe they'd be top 6, somewhere around there. They still are top 6. But those are things you can't control if you're the Lakers. It's not something that you can control if you're in their position. The biggest stat that's probably most important is, well, how are Lakers doing against teams over 500? And we know what's going on. We know that they've been awful in that regard. But I'd rather be sitting in fifth place where the Lakers are sitting, 5 games over 500, still a couple draft assets to go make a trade. Jared Vanderbilt coming back. Dorian Finney-Smith, who, since he's been a Laker, really has not been that impressive. I think his three-point shooting has dipped probably 8-9% since he's been a Laker. Of course it has. So I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'd rather be in this spot than somewhere else. Richard, this is a perfect being the 5th seed, but you feel like it's the 9th seed. It's a weird feeling. You're 100% right. I mean, if we're watching Lakers basketball, and I just said don't pay attention to the standings, where are the Lakers in the Western Conference? You'd probably say, okay, hey, they're 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that. But they're not. So I'm going to go ahead and just take it for what it is. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to pretend like the Lakers are real competition in the West until they prove to everybody that they're real competition in the Western Conference. Okay, so Vando coming back. That's obviously good news for the Lakers, and we'll go from there. Those 3 Kings wins are the reason. They go 3-0. I think they went 4-0 against the Kings. I know they've already played them for the rest of the year. 5th place feels like 9th. I'm with you. I get that. I completely understand where you guys are coming from, but the reality is that's where they are in the standings. So whether you want to say it or you don't want to say it, that's where they're sitting. Now, maybe that means all they can do is drop. But regardless, I think Vando coming back is it's big time. It really, I do feel it's going to be big time. Maybe that takes away certain minutes from guys that you guys aren't that crazy about, or players that aren't that consistent. All right, let's keep the show moving because there's a lot of things that I want to get into. All right, let's get into that article real quick. The growing concerns. So let me just kind of walk you guys through this article real quick. I want to read a couple things in there, and then I'll give you guys kind of my take on what I think about the news that's out there. This isn't just some random person. I think anytime that you have the timing of this is interesting. The fact that it's Shams is interesting. And I'll give you guys my reasoning of why I think this article is coming out when it is. Here's the article. Shams Charania, inside pass. Trade buzz on Lakers, Bulls, rest of the NBA. No, that's not the quote. No, that's not it. Let me click on the actual article. Okay, so this is the news. Article comes out yesterday, and it's talking about the Lakers, and specifically it's talking about how there's growing concern that LeBron and Anthony Davis, their confidence level in the front office to go out there and make a move. That's basically the meat of the article. The meat of the article is talking about how the Lakers, their situation, LeBron, obviously we know his situation, being at age 40. The one thing that I take away most from this article for me is I understand that LeBron is going to be frustrated at this stage of his career. He's still trying to win. I understand that Anthony Davis, if this guy's frustrated, Shams probably has, so many contacts within Clutch Sports and everything else. However, this article is being put together. It's very strategic. And this is not, this is not, this is very LeBron-esque. We just saw it a couple days ago. Remember, after Lakers lost to the Clippers, what did Bron say? That's how our team is constructed. We don't have room for error. JJ Redick had said something kind of a little bit similar, something along those lines. But the actual quote was, there's growing concern about the Lakers' ability to make significant roster upgrades with their 2 tradable first rounders. All right, let me just say this. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Rob obviously has to make a move. We all understand Rob's got to make a move. I was listening yesterday. I'm driving around. I'm listening to NBA Sirius XM. I listen to that if I'm out on the road. I listen to a lot of NBA Sirius XM. There's a guy, Justin Termine and Eddie Johnson, used to play in the league. They do a show together. It's in the afternoons. Actually, one of my good buddies who I used to work with over at 710, Mike Pearson, is the producer of that show. He works for NBA Sirius XM. Or Sirius XM Radio, NBA channel. So I thought it was interesting. He made a point. He said that whether you like what the Phoenix Suns are doing, who they're still trying to go out, acquire Jimmy Butler, they're making trades, they're mortgaging their entire future. His point was he'd rather see, whether you agree what the Suns are doing or not, he said at least there's clarity of the path that the Suns are on. And he was making an argument that the Lakers and the Warriors, you don't know what their path is. If the Lakers were all in, guys, we're all in. We don't care what the future looks like right now. We got LeBron, Anthony Davis. We got these 2 guys right now. We feel like the Western Conference might be up for grabs. Yes, OKC is phenomenal, but at the same time, they're super young. If you match up well against them, what happens in the 7-game set? You could look at some of the other teams in the Western Conference. The Lakers are in that in-between stage. The in-between is we're not all in, and we're also not completely rebuilding and getting ready for the future. Lakers are just stuck in the middle. We've talked about this in sports. It's the worst place that you can be. The worst place you can be in sports is a 9th seed, an 8th seed in the Western Conference. You're not good enough to compete for a championship. You're not bad enough to go get top draft picks. That's kind of where the Lakers are sitting. When I read this article and I saw that there's growing concern, it's clearly trying to put pressure on Rob Pelinka and the front office. Go make a damn move. You got these 2 first rounders. Quit screwing around. Go find a move that makes sense for the Lakers and stop worrying about the future. It's the Lakers. Lakers will always figure out the future. Instead, they're sitting in the middle. 2 things came out of this that instantly came to my mind. Number one was, it's not going to make Rob Pelinka's life any easier to go make a move with this article out. Is what it is. Maybe the Lakers and LeBron and Anthony Davis have already gone behind the scenes and have expressed we got to get better. We got to use those assets. We got to win right now. But this article coming out, specifically talking about LeBron and AD growing concern about the Lakers' ability to make significant roster upgrades with their 2 tradable first rounders, is not going to make Rob Pelinka's job easier this morning to go make a move. What are teams going to say when they read this article? Perfect. If the Lakers call, they're desperate. If the Lakers call, we know that the 2 mega stars in LA are putting pressure on the front office. Go make a deal. All right, now Rob Pelinka's looking around. When he makes a deal, maybe there is that GM or that president of basketball operations that's saying, "Now we're going to need 2. We're going to need both of those first rounders to make this move." Rob says, "All right, I can't do that." All right, Rob, next team. No, we're going to need this. We're going to need that. We're going to need Max Christie in a deal, whatever it is. The point that I'm trying to make is that when articles like this come out, it's not going to help your president of basketball operations. It's also not LeBron and Anthony Davis's job, I think, to care about that. I don't think they care about the Lakers' future. I think they care about the present, and they're trying to win right now. That's the first thing that came to my mind, is it's not going to make Pelinka's job easier. The second thing that came to my mind is, when I read, let me read the exact quote again. I'll tell you, and you guys can maybe guess where I'm going with this. Leak sources told ESPN that James and Davis are growing concerned about the Lakers' ability to make significant roster upgrades with their 2 tradable first rounders. I'm not trying to be, how do I put this? I'll be blunt here. I'm not telling you that LeBron James' opinion doesn't matter, but LeBron's 40. The fact that Anthony Davis is in that article, that part concerns me. Because if the Lakers didn't make a move because they started thinking to themselves, guys, we got to think of the future. We're not too worried about, what's happening today. We're not worried about where the franchise is. We're not worried about trying to compete for a championship right now. Then at least I could kind of sit back and say, all right, well, Bron, you're 40. You may be there by the time this year is over. You may not be. I have no idea, obviously the direction of this Lakers team and where they're going to go. My concern is Anthony Davis not being happy. That's the only thing that I pay attention to. If Anthony Davis is not happy on this with the Lakers front office, with the ability to compete, and that's with LeBron James on this team, does Anthony Davis start looking at the front office and the organization and say, you know what, when LeBron's done, maybe I'm done here. Maybe I move on. I don't want to see Anthony Davis go anywhere. I want to see Anthony Davis be a part of this Lakers team for years to come. I want to see him. I want the Lakers to build a team with him rather than without him. Not necessarily around him, because I think he does need another star player, a big-time star player, and a really good team around him. Anthony Davis has got his. I think there are a lot of times that we look at AD and say, look, can that guy be the best player on the championship team? I think he needs a player as good as him on a championship team. But those were the two things I took away from the article. I'm not telling you that LeBron's opinion still doesn't matter and count, but he's 40. The guy can be gone by the end of the season, and that's it. And Lakers could be, completely moving on from there. What I care about is Anthony Davis' growing concern about the Lakers' ability to make significant roster upgrades with their 2 tradable first rounders. They got to make a move. Everyone understands that. Go look at the Boston Celtics tonight. That team is absolutely loaded. If you really, truly want to compete with an NBA championship, you're clearly not staying with the roster that you have. And if you're not going to do that, then maybe you should start the rebuilding process. Being stuck in the middle is not exactly where you want to be. And the fact that Anthony Davis might not be happy, that to me is a bigger issue. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's look at some of the comments here. There was mayhem outside when I was doing this. I got thrown off here. Yo, Slee, good morning. Wish you a great day. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Hope you got a nice day as well. LeBron and AD finally. Basically, I think that's saying that they're putting the pressure on the front office. Let me get another one here. No point going all in for a 40-year-old player who should be the third option when you are not getting a 1 or 2 type of player. So I think if I read a little bit more to this article, the article is actually talking about how I think the thing that they're upset about is not going after a big-time player where LeBron could potentially become the third best player on this Lakers team, right? I think that's kind of the idea on the concept that, yeah, you went out there and you traded D'Lo, you traded Maxwell Lewis, you got Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton, but nobody ever thought that that was going to be enough. Nobody ever thought that, all right, that's going to get it done. Let me look at a couple more comments here. Let's see what else we got here. Slee, of course, LeBron and AD are concerned. Look at the roster. Yeah, the bigger question is, what are they going to do then? What are they going to do? 2 weeks to make a move? Because if it is a small move, then I think that kind of says a little bit there. Whatever the case is. That article published by Clutch. Well, it doesn't matter where the quotes came from. It's just that they're actually the quotes. Let's see what we got here. Last time we listened to them, we traded everything for Westbrook. Could be some of that too, right? Where the front office is saying, listen, it's Rob Pelinka's job to look at this year and then also look at the next 5 years. So it's also up to him of how to kind of handle this. But I'm going to go back to this. Listen, they're clearly not selling. They're clearly not sellers. They are a team that's trying to win right now. Everybody knows they're trying to win right now. So either put both feet in or take both feet out. All right, let's talk Lonzo Ball here for a second. I saw, and I'll get back to some of these comments. Thank you for being a part of the show, by the way, everybody. Please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep going here. I'm gonna spend a quick little second here on Lonzo Ball. Jovan Buha was doing a podcast. There's another podcast he was on. It's called Hoops Tonight, and conversation came up that Lonzo Ball is a player who is expected to be on the Lakers' radar per Jovan Buha. All right, Lonzo. All right, let's spend a little time on Lonzo here real quick. Let me get Laker fans' opinion on what they think about Lonzo Ball. Let me tell you guys what I've watched so far since D'Angelo Russell left the Lakers. I see a team that clearly needs another ball handler. I see Laker fans that are hitting me up all the time. That's like, hey, Al, do you see Austin Reaves? Yeah, he's getting 5-6 turnovers. The guy's got trouble trying to bring the ball up half court. They got bigger guards. Watch tonight how Boston guards Austin Reaves. Because if you give Austin Reaves a bad night, there's a good chance Lakers are going to lose that game. And you guys will see how they end up guarding him, whether it's Derek White, Drew Holiday. We got to see. I don't know who's going to be playing. I know Drew Holiday didn't play yesterday, but that means he probably goes tonight. Big guards, good defensive guards, and Austin Reaves is going to have trouble. So I was looking at Lonzo. Lonzo's 27 years old. Honestly, his stats are not overly impressive. So if you're just looking at his stats, I don't know if his stats are going to tell the story for you. He's played in 23 games, has obviously come off a lot of injuries, 6 points a game, 3 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, 36% from the field, and 33% from the three-point line. So it's not like Lonzo's killing it. Minutes-wise, I was looking at what kind of minutes he's getting, at least his last few games. So he's probably about 24, 25 minutes a game, something along those lines. I've always been a big fan of Lonzo Ball. I have been. I like his style. I like his game. I've talked about this, Michael Thompson and I for years when we used to do the pregame show together. We would talk about how anytime you get a player that is willing to play defense and willing to pass the ball, kind of just stop here for a quick second. That's not common in the NBA. The bigger question is, can Lonzo fit a specific need for the Lakers right now? And would he be able to, obviously help this Lakers roster? If you can get Austin Reaves off the ball, I think he's going to be more effective. Now, there's going to be times he's on the ball, but it's not a necessity. It's a luxury. If you can get Anthony Davis, another player that can get him the ball, right time, right place. If you can get a guy like LeBron sometimes off the ball because somebody else is orchestrating the offense. There's a lot of times I don't know if LeBron can do that at this stage of his career. He just is so accustomed to having the ball in his hands. Stylistically, what Lonzo does, I think it is something that the Lakers need. Stylistically, the fact that Lonzo Ball likes to play defense, likes to distribute the ball, wants to get as many other guys involved, that's his game. His natural ability in the league when he was at UCLA, when he was in high school, whatever the case, he likes dishing the rock. That's it's not common, but he's almost like an old school point guard. That's like, yeah, I'm a point guard. I don't need to try to take 20 shots a game, 25 shots a game. I'm going to get everybody else involved. That concept is something that the Lakers need. Here are my concerns. My concerns is his health. Now, he's played 23 games this year, which is about half the season. Obviously, since he made his return back, that's one of my concerns. And the other concern is offensively, his 3-point shooting. He's not going to be much of an offensive threat. So you got to keep that in mind if you go out there and get a guy like Lonzo Ball. The last thing that I'll say, what's it going to cost? What's Lonzo cost in the market? So those are the things that I think jump off to my head right out the gate. Is the Lakers need a player like Lonzo Ball. I'm not arguing that for a second. I do think they need a player like him. I do think he can be an asset for the Lakers. I'd much rather have Austin Reaves off the ball than on the ball. I think it makes Austin Reaves' life a hell of a lot easier because right now he's being asked, we need you to be kind of a facilitator. Now, unless Austin Reaves changes his role and all of a sudden he's basically looking to take 10, 12 shots a game, not 18 to 20 shots a game. But even with that, I don't think it's Reaves' natural. That's not his natural game. And there are good defenders, wing defenders, long length defenders, guys that can make Austin Reaves' life miserable. Lonzo is a 6'6" guard that can, certainly make things happen. So I think there's some positives and some negatives. I just don't know if Lonzo becomes a Laker tomorrow. The way he plays the game, that's what the Lakers need. Stylistically, that's what they need. I just don't know what he's going to cost. And, obviously his health is always been a little bit of a concern. All right, let's see some of these comments here. I'm curious to see what some of these Laker fans think about Lonzo. Bron and Lonzo worked, y'all. Forget both them boys had triple doubles together. The way I read that was awful. Bron and Lonzo worked, y'all. Forget both of them boys had triple doubles together. I'll just say this. I'll let me kind of throw this in there. Bron's not the same player, obviously, and Lonzo isn't either. As in, it was his rookie year, so now, or I think it was his rookie and his sophomore year. But that's going to be the he'll be more developed now at this stage. Will Lonzo's knees hold up? I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Can Lonzo stay healthy? I'm with you on that. Zach LaVine needs Zach LaVine. Here's the problem with Zach LaVine. I think once you traded D'Angelo Russell, I think those days of Zach LaVine are gone. I think once the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell, that's why I was, really emphasizing that yesterday. When you traded D'Lo, that contract and that expiring contract, I think took away some of those other options to go out there and get a big-time player like a Zach LaVine or a Brandon Ingram or Jimmy. But I think those scenarios are over. All right, let me see what we have here. A couple more, and then we're going to keep going here. Reaves, just another turnover. Who you giving up for Lonzo? Let me check one thing. I want to see Lonzo's. I'm going to look at it in just a second. I'll look at it as we get Sammy in here. So you guys, let me get Sammy Long in the house. You guys know Sammy. Sammy's been putting up every preview video over the course, really the entire season. So he's been kind of setting us up for every game. Sammy, thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on. Good morning, sir.
Alan Slewa, how you doing?
That hair, man. You got good hair. You got really, really good hair.
I try. I had to put some stuff in it for you this morning. It was looking
wavy. It's looking. Look at you, just killing it. I did when I did a podcast with Marcellus about a week ago. Both of him and I were talking about just basically our bald heads. So you can't come on when we're doing that. Yeah, that doesn't work. What's going on, brother?
That was great. That was Marcellus. Yeah, well, he had Max for years, so you know what I mean. He was normal.
Max had solid hair too. How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
Ready center here.
Ready for tonight. I can't wait. Nothing better than Laker Celtics.
What about you? I'm gonna go off a topic that I was just hitting on. Lonzo Ball. If the Lakers can get him, right price, kind of what he brings to the table. What do you think of Lonzo?
It's an expiring contract, so I guess I can. If it's for a manageable price, they've said a second-round pick, maybe a couple seconds. I guess I could get talked into that. I don't think that really solves any issues. He's not a scorer. I know he plays good defense, and I know he can pass and rebound. He kind of does a lot of what he did. I feel like that's just inviting a lot of drama back into the Lakers' life. We got D'Angelo Russell off the team, and I was always a big D'Lo guy, but D'Lo did bring a lot of drama. If Lonzo comes back, you can only imagine LeVar. LiAngelo's got one of the top songs in America right now, and now Lonzo's back with the Lakers. I couldn't even imagine that press tour he's going to go on. If he's going to come off the bench and be willing to kind of run the offense and stick to the system, sure, if you don't have to give up anything. But I don't think that Lonzo really moves the needle. I think Jared Vanderbilt coming back moves more of a needle than Lonzo Ball coming over.
Okay, a couple things. Here's the beauty. The beauty is you didn't have to give up anything for Vando, right? So Vando's just coming either way. I think sometimes addition by subtraction. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Lonzo's not an offensive player, but Lonzo creates offense. Does Lonzo all of a sudden, because he's a player that can get – I'm not crazy about Austin Reaves being the Lakers point guard, right?
Yeah.
And I think I got a lot of concerns in that. I don't think that's his natural position. But can Lonzo make Dorian Finney-Smith life easier, Austin Reaves life easier, LeBron James life easier, Anthony Davis life easier? Can he all of a sudden just create opportunities that maybe he's not individually giving you more points, but the team is scoring more because he's setting up so many of these different players? They need a player like that. And I do think that they need. I think the experiment and those that were concerned when D'Lo goes saying, well, what are you guys going to do on ball? Clearly they got issues on ball.
Yeah. So he would help, but is Lonzo going to be okay taking that kind of role? He's been injured a lot of the last few years, just came back recently. They've signed the 4-year, $80 million contract with Chicago. I don't know. Lonzo doesn't seem like a big ego guy. I don't know. Obviously his dad does a lot of talking for him, but is he okay coming off the bench? Is he okay possibly starting, but really taking a backseat? Maybe it's different now that LeBron's, and he was here with LeBron, but, kind of towards the end there, LeBron and Anthony Davis. I do think it'd help, but I don't know that, like when we hear reports of Anthony Davis and LeBron possibly frustrated about the Lakers not going all in, I think Lonzo is just kind of another Band-Aid because I don't think Lonzo comes back. I don't know how much Lonzo really moves it, is what I'm saying. And I do think defensively it would help because Reaves, we know, is great offensively, but a sieve defensively. They attack him all day.
Yeah, and I basically are our feet move laterally better than Austin Reaves in a pickup game. I mean, there are the times where I'm like, Reaves, I got him. Let me try.
It would almost be better if Reaves just hung at half court and they just threw alley, like just threw.
I'm with you. Okay, I got one thing on the drama stuff with Lonzo. I don't think Lonzo is a drama guy, and I don't think Lonzo, his journey and his story. Maybe I'm talking myself more and more into Lonzo. I think he would be down for whatever. Think about Lonzo Ball's journey so far in the NBA. The man is just trying to continue his career as long as he can because of the injuries that he's had. He was a number 2 pick for the Lakers. He's from Los Angeles. I don't think Lonzo was ever drama. Like, it's funny when you said Lonzo might bring drama, you never mentioned Lonzo. You just mentioned some people around him, right? Yeah. Like you mentioned, whether it's his dad or whatever the case is. I honestly I wouldn't be concerned about any of that stuff. I would just look at Lonzo and I would say, let's use him coming off the bench as an example, which, by the way, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think he's starting for the Bulls right now. I could be wrong, but I thought there was a point where he was coming off the bench. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I think for Lonzo also, there's a little bit of like full circle here. I get another shot with the Lakers. This is probably LeBron's last hurrah or close to the final one of it. He can help a team that needs what his skill set and what he brings to the table. And he just doesn't, I don't see Lonzo and drama. I don't think that comes into play. It's interesting. Do I think it's going to be the point you made of, Al, it's not going to like change them all of a sudden. They're now top 3 in the Western Conference. I think that's probably the strongest point to make, is that it's not going to make a significant move. But I do think they need a player like him. If the solution is Austin Reaves setting everybody else up and himself, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I just think with Lonzo, I'm with you. If it's for a second-round pick, sure. Well, I mean, what harm can it do? He brings good defense. He brings a lot of energy. I agree with you. The Lakers do need a player like that. But if we're really hearing reports that AD and LeBron, and I heard you earlier on the show, I totally agree with you that we need to take AD. AD's opinion matters. LeBron, we don't care. 40, I mean, he's 40. He's not going to be here for the long run. So he wants them to go in and win right now, because why does he care about the Lakers building for the future? I'd rather see you go get more draft capital and pay more picks for a Cam Johnson than slapping a Band-Aid with Lonzo. If we're going to go in that direction, I think swing for the fences and go for a Cam Johnson versus just, I don't know, Lonzo coming in for a second-round pick. I don't know what that really does.
So those two players, you're right, are drastically different, right? Like, are you able, hypothetically, let me just kind of throw this out there. Let's say you're able to get good draft compensation and you gave up, let's say you gave up a second, maybe you gave up 2 seconds, whatever it costs, but you didn't touch your real assets. And then you went out and got Cam Johnson as well and touched your real assets. Okay, I'm interested. Like now,
Yeah.
now you're looking at a roster and you're saying, okay, there's a good 6-7 players. If you had, talking out of my ass here, you traded for Lonzo, you traded for Cam Johnson as well. Okay. Now you're looking at, okay, I know that I could depend on LeBron, Anthony Davis, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, Austin Reaves, Max Christie, and Lonzo Ball. That's 8 right there. I'm just, again, talking out of my, what. At least then I could feel more confident about so many of these other Laker players where I'm like, yeah, I got no idea what each of these guys are going to give on a night in, night out basis. But let me transition here, because you mentioned might as well get your opinion on this as well. The thought process about or that article that I was talking about, that the growing concerns about LeBron, Anthony Davis, and kind of looking at, will the Lakers be able to make a big move? I think my biggest frustration right now with the Lakers is I'm not sure, when you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and we all kind of, trust me, we all have situations in our life where we're not all in. There's something that's like you're half-assing something. I feel like with Pelinka in the front office, I can't figure out, are you all in or are you not all in? Because this is not, last year the Lakers were in almost the exact same position. So nothing's really changed over almost 2 years now for the Lakers. Right. What do you make of the article? What do you make of kind of the position that they're in? And what do you make of the kind of half in, half out?
Yeah,
by the way, we're going to find out a lot if they're half in, half out by the time February 6th rolls around.
Right, because the Lakers get pushed into by this report. It kind of feels like every year we get a report like this. It's interesting that AD was in on this report, because we've heard a lot of this from LeBron over the years. And I understand if LeBron is 33 and he's like, I want to go all in, I get it. Then give LeBron whatever he wants. But at age 40, if Anthony Davis is saying, I want something, or maybe, hey, maybe I'm out when LeBron goes, who knows? That resonates more with me.
And I think that's part of the power. I think part of the power that Braun does have is like, look, this is clutch sports. Anthony Davis was clutch. By the way, you know why Anthony Davis is here? It's because of me.
Yeah.
And I think also, there's the other power that Braun has is like, your franchise has been relevant for 7 years because I've been here.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on the 40 years old, because that's one of the points that I was making, but it's not like he does not have his he's got some ammo still too.
Yeah, obviously still it's amazing what he's doing. He's 40 and he's still one of the top players in the NBA. And I mean, we saw against the Clippers, LeBron was the one that had the team even in it at the end of the game. AD had a bad night. But it does feel like the Lakers keep treading water on this, because I like the Dorian Finney-Smith move. Shake Milton, I thought, could be a nice piece. He hasn't really played that much. But
yeah, he hasn't played at all.
Yeah, just the first few games a little bit. But it does feel weird. It's like the Lakers got to make a decision. Either go all in, which I'm more, let's go for the future a little bit, because I'm tired of the Lakers trading draft picks. For years, the Lakers just didn't have a first-round draft pick. The AD trade, the Russell Westbrook trade, other things like that. I feel like the Lakers are just giving them up. And I think in today's NBA, we're seeing more. There's kind of this narrative of draft picks don't matter unless you're in the lottery or really in the top 5. They don't matter. And I think you're seeing the Jaime Jaquez's of the world, the Brandon Podziemskis, the Dalton Connect. I know he struggled a little bit at times, but still, Jared McCain, some guys picked in the later half of the first round that really have become contributors. I'm with keeping some of those picks. And then if you want to move one of those picks for a guy that you really see, kind of like I'm talking about Cam Johnson, if you think Cam Johnson, a young, really good player, can really help this team for now and the future, then make that happen. But just kind of, I don't know, half giving picks, making these kind of fringe trades, but not going all in. But then we're also going to make some trades because we think that we can compete. It's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, I say go all in. I do. And let me tell you why I say go all in is because you're not trading for Dorian Finney-Smith unless you're going towards that direction of saying, well, we're still all in it. You're not last year saying that, we got 3 first rounders that we're willing to give up and this and that. So they're all in talk. They're all in minor moves, but they're not all in action up to this point. I do think by the time the pressure is going to be on Rob Pelinka, but I think the strategy of, hey, let's start. This is why I know they're not going to go rebuild, because they're not shopping any of these big time players. They're looking to buy rather than to sell.
Right. It'd be interesting if the conversation became, LeBron's retiring or he leaves or whatever, and Anthony Davis says, I want out. Then,
Sure.
then it's a full rebuild because you could trade Anthony Davis, get a ton of picks. Obviously, I don't think most people don't want that to happen. You would love AD to be here. He's still, even with the injury history, still fairly
100%.
young player.
100%.
I mean, that would be a disaster to let Anthony Davis go. And you'd think that LeBron would kind of give him the keys to the car. This is your team. And Anthony Davis could attract the second star. Anthony Davis could attract someone to come play for the team. But yeah, there's so many conflicting reports. They're out on Jimmy Butler. They're out on all these guys. But then now LeBron and AD want someone. It's tough to figure out. But I guess, like you said, it'll run right up to February 6th, and we'll find out.
Okay, big matchup tonight. Lakers, Celtics. Sammy, I don't know if you know my record on barometer games. When I say that there's a barometer game coming, I just want to just catch you up to speed here. Okay.
I know. I listen, Alan.
What I think I'm either 0 for 4 or 0 for 5. I'm going to take the 0 for 5. I'm just going to take it. I've had barometer games. Let me tell you which ones I think right out the gate. I know Denver was a barometer game. I know Cleveland was a barometer game. I know OKC was a barometer game. I can't remember my last barometer game, but I'm 0 for 5. Tonight, I would like to say, when you're taking on the defending NBA champs, a franchise that really, really looks like it has its shit in order, whether you like to hear that or not, the Boston Celtics look like they know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, what their makeup is, what their pedigree is, their front office, their head coach, the whole thing. Everything looks like it's clicking right now for the Celtics. I know you just put out a preview video on the game. Can you talk a little bit about what's in that video and just kind of some expectations for tonight?
So tonight's kind of, I don't know who all watched the Clippers Celtics game last night, but crazy game. The Clippers missed most of their guys, and they took them to OT. Almost won the game. And
so Clippers played nobody against the Celtics, played everybody against the Lakers.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, why wouldn't sure.
And I'm sure that all those guys that didn't play for the Celtics as well will be playing tonight. Jaden Springer hit some big shots down the stretch for the Celtics. You're like, who the hell is Jaden Springer? Of course, he had like 4 steals in the second half, couple big threes at the end. But Tatum, Brown, Hauser really round out the starting lineup. Derek White. So last night they missed. Porzingis was out with an illness. Horford sprained his left big toe, and Drew Holiday his right shoulder was messed up. So, this team is lethal. They can really hit you from anywhere on the depth chart. This is what makes Boston so good, in my opinion, is that even though Tatum and Brown and Porzingis are your superstars, maybe Porzingis a little less there. Pritchard off the bench and Shireman and like some of these guys, Springer. It doesn't really stop. They that's where a lot of teams kind of lose to the Celtics as the bench comes in. They just lose the bench battle. I do think so. Horford and Porzingis did not play last night. If they don't play tonight, that means Cornette's going to be guarding AD, and Xavier Tillman did not play last night, but he'll probably get a little run because they're going to need some fouls for Anthony Davis. This is a big matchup for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis needs to dominate, especially regardless of who's playing. Those guys are still a little banged up. I think Anthony Davis has got to have a huge night. I do think Vegas is a little telling on this game. So they've been really hush-hush about the injury report. Boston opened as 5.5-point favorites, and this morning it's come down to 4.5. So some late money's coming in on the Lakers, which makes me think that Jaylen Brown rolled an ankle last night in the second quarter, and he continued playing. So I don't know if Horford and some of these guys are going to play because Vegas, I think, would be going the other way. I was surprised it was only a 5.5-point line anyway, and the fact that it's coming down, we could see some guys out tonight. I don't know if Jaylen Brown's going to be fully healthy either.
Yeah, it's interesting you said kind of what you said in the beginning there. You said that after Tatum, it's so easy to look at the Celtics and say, I think most basketball people know this, so it's not breaking news or anything, but you look at Tatum and you look at Brown, and you're like, wow, these are great players. That's why the Celtics are good. No, the Celtics are good is because they traded for Drew Holiday, because Derek White has been such a key factor. I mean, even Porzingis in that finals run last year didn't have this crazy contributions. Yeah. It was they have so much depth. They have so many different players that they can go to. And then they got 2 all-stars, obviously in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Listen, here's what I'd like to see from the Lakers tonight. I think the atmosphere tonight's going to be awesome because it's Lakers Celtics.
Yep.
I think, anytime that you get these two franchises to play each other, there's just going to be some extra energy. What I want to see from the Lakers tonight, I love what you said about Anthony Davis, about how much of this is going to be on his shoulders. If AD doesn't win his matchup, or take AD in the last game, AD Ivica Zubats. Zubats won that matchup, and I think it was 21-19. It's like, well, how are you going to? You're not winning a game if AD's not winning his matchup. I'm curious to see guys like Dorian Finney-Smith tonight. I'm curious to see how the Celtics guard Reaves tonight, because they're going to do what some of these other teams have done when he struggled most, is put some big guards on him. But I know I joke around about a barometer game, but how else do you look at games like this?
You're right. Yeah.
When you play elite teams, we know the record Lakers have versus teams above 500. It's awful. It's actually the worst of the top 10 teams in the Western Conference. Lakers have the worst record against teams over 500. So I think this is more about just seeing what kind of Lakers team are you getting? What kind of fight are you getting? Are we going to be sitting there going into the fourth quarter and Lakers are down 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever the case is? Or is this a game that's kind of coming down to the end and Lakers are showing some fight?
Yeah, and I think also, like the other night, Christie had 5, Vincent had 3, and Connect had 3 each. Like, that can't happen tonight, because Peyton Pritchard off the bench is going to have big moments.
And it happens, and unfortunately, it happens a lot. Like when we say it can't happen, but it's also not unlikely to happen.
No, that was against the Wizards, a team that everyone should be in double digits against. I mean, they're awful. And so it's nice to see Dorian Finney-Smith, 4-6 from 3, 16 points. You'd love to see that. It really sucks Vando can't play in this game. I know he's coming back Saturday. Everyone thinks, reported he'll at least be available, because it's going to be exciting to see if the Lakers could get a lead against a team, say like the Celtics. Say they got a 6-point lead in the fourth quarter. Just, bear with me for a second. And Vando and Finney-Smith were available. It would be really fun to see these two on-ball elite defenders going, because a lot of that's happened even when the Lakers had Vando the last few years. It felt like if he got in foul trouble or he went to the bench, it was done. I mean, the opposing team's player, Jamal Murray, would always start going off right when Vando went off in those playoff games. It'd be fun to see both of them at the same time, kind of rotating in on their best player, Tatum and Brown. But I don't know. I think they'll come to play tonight. They usually do. The Lakers do in big games. It's about closing, and it can't just be LeBron, Anthony Davis, Rui, Mac Christie, Reaves. All these guys gotta step up.
Yeah, there's a little bit of you get excited about a big game. They come ready to go, but then I'll give you an example. The interim head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, I remember he was talking about, it was the first game Lakers and the Spurs were playing after the 2 games that were postponed due to the LA fires. And he had said something like, the beginning for anybody, it's very emotional, it's this, but at some point it will just come back to, it's basketball, because it's 48 minutes long or whatever the case is. And I think, it was such a great example, because you kind of saw the Lakers versus the Spurs. There were some emotions in the beginning of the game. There was, I think Lakers at halftime were up 9 or 10 or something like that. But then there came a point where it was just about basketball. And we'll see how the Lakers, obviously react to a game like this. Okay, final one that I want to throw at you. And, it's kind of interesting. I'm looking at both of these franchises. Look at the direction that you feel like the Boston Celtics are going over the next 5 years, and the direction that the Lakers are going over the next 5 years. Does it not just feel like, whether Laker fans want to hear it or not, it's the truth, right? So Boston gets a championship last year, but don't forget, Boston been knocking on the door for a while. It's not like the Celtics just, what's crazy, if you go look at Tatum and Jaylen Brown, their playoff experience at their age is unheard of. Like there's never, for the rest of their career, there's never going to be a playoff series where they should be intimidated by anything. They've kind of gone through everything already, even at their age. But you look at that franchise, Joe Mazzulla, clearly the right head coach. Brad Stevens, clearly the right person in the front office. The Celtics' hunger, ownership of trying to and wanting to win. I know they'll have some issues just kind of affording everybody, but you look at their future and you look at the Lakers' future, it's a stark difference between the two franchises right now.
That's part of why getting Lonzo back bothers me a little bit. Like it kind of feels like a little bit of a laughing stock. Not at Lonzo. Lonzo's, carved himself out a nice contract and he's dealt with a lot of injuries. So I'm not coming at Lonzo, but the Lakers could have had Jason Tatum. And I'm not going to kill the Lakers for taking Lonzo Ball because they would have all been fired if they didn't take Lonzo Ball because he was great out of UCLA and no one saw the offensive scoring issues and all this stuff kind of in the beginning. But Jason Tatum's on Jimmy Kimmel the other night talking about how much he loves Kobe and grew up being a Laker fan. And it hurts watching it. It's like, oh, you could have had Jason Tatum. I mean, he could be playing in a Laker uniform right now and be the franchise cornerstone. It's this is why the limbo thing is hard because the Lakers, someone said it in the chat, that like the Lakers are the best, worst team. It'd be one thing if the Lakers were just bad and it's like, all right, they don't have talent. And I heard you saying it's like it's amazing they're fifth in the Western Conference. It would feel
I don't get that.
It feels like they're like 10th or 11th.
Bro, the way I've been talking about them, you would think they're 10th or 11th. Like I had somebody I was talking to somebody this morning and Brad Turner of the LA Times, him and I were chatting this morning and he's like, yeah, can you believe they're fifth? I'm like, did they move up yesterday? They did because Clippers lost to the Celtics. It's like, I'm with you. That doesn't make any sense in the standings.
Yeah. It's crazy that it's all like right there because the Lakers show at times that they can compete with the top. Like at times they look really good, and when the team's playing fully healthy, LeBron kept saying when they were on the losing streak, we still haven't gotten the team healthy. We still haven't gotten Vando back and Wood and these guys. We haven't seen the team that Pelinka constructed. But then you see, to your point, like the Spurs, they're winning by 9, 10, 11 in the first half, and there's no effort in the second half. You don't know what team you're getting in the second half. I had a friend ask me who should I bet on the Lakers. I'm like, always take the team that's plus money. Because whoever's plus money will probably, you don't know what the Lakers are getting. So, might as well take the team with some value because it's tough. I hope they come out to play tonight. I think they will. It's a primetime game.
All right. So Lakers Celtics preview, that video up?
Yep. Just got posted a little bit ago.
Okay, perfect. So Sammy, who's been doing it for every pregame, he's been throwing up previews of every team. So Lakers and the Celtics coming up tonight, and obviously go on the channel, and then you'll see the preview video. Sammy will have a few things on there that you guys can all look at. Sammy, thank you, buddy. I appreciate the time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
dude. We will see you, and we will talk to you soon. Okay, bud?
Yes, sir. Go Lakers.
All right. That is Sammy Long right there. Sammy Long. Making it happen. Working hard out there. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the comments here, and then I got a couple other things that I want to do, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's see. Oof, I got a long way to go. A lot of comments here. Better show some toughness tonight. Reaves will have at least 4 turnovers. Yeah, it ain't gonna be. Let me tell you guys something. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be a tough game. But listen, I've said this before. I like games like this. I really do. I think at the end of the day, don't you want to see the Lakers versus the best competition? And, a lot of those excuses that we throw out there for the Lakers, or somebody say, oh, they didn't have Vando, Christian, whatever the case is. All these teams got injuries. Everybody's got injuries. The only injury that I support, in the sense of I understand the justification, the only ones that I understand, or that I justify, is if LeBron or Anthony Davis is out. Or even Austin Reaves. That's obviously would be a killer for the Lakers as well. Couple supers here that I want to get into real quick. LeBron's ego will not let him be the third option. Well, he's definitely never been in a situation or a position where he's been the third option on a team. Even now with Anthony Davis on this team, there's still a lot of nights where he's the first option. He's got the ball in his hands. He's dictating what the Lakers are doing. So I think this kind of goes back to, and I'm probably assuming you guys were having the chat about going out there and trying to get a third star. Thank you for the super. Here's another one. Same person. Thank you again for the super. I appreciate that. You bought me a cup of coffee this morning. Cheers to you, brother. Trade AD. He's a number 2 or 3 on a chip team. He's not a number 3 on a chip team. I'll tell you that. If you want to make the argument, if you're telling me that, I know it's going to sound a little ridiculous, but I'll say it anyways. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is on the Lakers and so is Anthony Davis, they got a shot at winning a championship. If Luka's on the Lakers with Anthony Davis, there's your 1-2. I don't think he needs to be a 3. Nor is he a 3 just naturally because he's so dominant on both sides of the floor. So thank you for the supers. I appreciate that. Let me get into more of these comments here. You know how much I love how active this chat is. And I can't get to everything. I definitely can't. But and a lot of times, like when I was having the conversation with Sammy, I sometimes I'm not paying attention to the chat because I'm just trying to have a conversation with him. So if you got some stuff now that I didn't get to, go ahead and start putting it right now, and then I'll do my best because I can't go back. It's too far back to take a look. You mean the same Anthony Davis and LeBron James that didn't make the playoffs with Russell Westbrook? Help me figure it out, fam. Again, I'll wait, LeBron fan. Probably replying to somebody else on here. Yeah, listen, it's kind of funny. We sit here and we talk about Pelinka and we talk about, hey, go make a move and no excuses and nobody wants to hear it, all that stuff. He's kind of, I don't want to say screwed either way, but if he goes out there and makes another blockbuster move and it doesn't work and they don't truly compete for a championship and he gives up both first rounders, do you know what we would do to Rob Pelinka and the organization? We'd be sitting there once the franchise, LeBron decides to move on and your first rounders are gone, and we'd basically be saying, what the hell were you doing? If he doesn't make a move, we're sitting here and we're saying, well, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Do something. Do something. I mean, are you all in or are you not? I think those are kind of interesting scenarios to look at. I cannot forgive Rob Pelinka for tarnishing LeBron's legacy. Z Muffin Man, let me tell you something. There is absolutely nothing that can happen in LeBron's remaining career that would ruin his legacy, period. The only thing that can happen is he adds to it. But there's nothing that can happen that would ruin it. Westbrook was a bad fit on the team. No matter how good a player is, they can ruin the flow of the team. Let's see what we got here. LeBron is already a third option because he sure as hell didn't affect winning at a championship level at number 1 option. That's for damn sure. What are we talking about? Guys, he's literally, if he's not the greatest to ever do it, he's top 3. Why are we trying to go after LeBron right now out of all times? All right, let me take this off. Okay, I got a couple other things that I want to get into here real quick. And then I'll look at a couple more comments and then we'll call it a day. What do you guys make of this Jimmy Butler situation? I'm trying to figure out here, who's this look worse for? And by the way, pay attention to Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler, it looks like the Phoenix Suns, even though nothing is imminent, it looks like the Phoenix Suns are trying to stack the cards to go try to make a move for Jimmy Butler. By the way, if the Phoenix Suns are making a move with the Miami Heat, like those two teams are negotiating back and forth, I don't even need to know the details. I'm going to tell you that the Miami Heat are going to win that trade, period. Just the front offices, the 2 completely different front offices. However, it doesn't mean Phoenix can't be better for short term and try to make a run with Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. I do think Jimmy Butler would be a much better fit than Bradley Beal there. And who knows, maybe Bradley Beal is a much better fit in Miami stylistically the way they play. And I think that's one of the teams that he's okay with being traded to. But let me ask you guys this question. I saw, another article that came out yesterday. The Miami Heat, I'm going to read this statement from the Miami Heat. We have suspended Jimmy Butler for 2 games for continued pattern of disregard of team rules, conduct detrimental to the team, including missing today's team flight to Milwaukee, the team said in a statement. Butler is planning to join the Heat Wednesday night after missing the flight. Now Miami will be playing without him during its 2-game road trip. They got Milwaukee and Brooklyn coming up. That's going to be a 9-game total suspension because he was already suspended for 7 games, so make it 9 games. Who looks worse in this situation? Do the Miami Heat look like a franchise that doesn't know what it's doing and have really lost connection with one of their star players who took them to the NBA Finals twice or was a key piece to take them to the NBA Finals? Or does Jimmy Butler look worse for basically saying, I'm not showing up to work? It's a good argument both ways. I mean, I will tell you this. Let me tell you from a Jimmy Butler perspective what I don't like about this situation for him. You're under contract. You're getting paid. You're upset at the franchise and the front office. I think he could still show up to work and probably increase his chances of still getting traded and maybe have more teams out there that say, hey, let's still go after Jimmy Butler. It's still this guy. There's probably hesitation now on Jimmy Butler from teams. They're saying, well, what are we getting? What if this guy gets upset at our front office? Is he all of a sudden just not going to come to work and obviously do his thing? From a Miami Heat perspective of what kind of makes them look so bad, I remember the quote that came in the offseason. Pat Riley was talking about Jimmy Butler, and he said something to the effect of like, if you're not playing, we don't want you, or keep your mouth shut or something like that. I think Pat Riley looked wildly stupid with that quote when he made that quote about Jimmy Butler. Looked almost unhinged. I know Jimmy Butler was trying to get an extension in the offseason. Whatever the case was with that, it's the first time I've looked at Pat Riley and said, Pat Riley's one of the best to ever do it. We all know that. But it's the first time that I'm like, damn, he just made that really personal with Jimmy Butler. Why? Why make that personal publicly? It just feels like the Miami Heat. When I think of the Miami Heat, I see Pat Riley, I see Alonzo Mourning, I see their ownership, I see Eric Spoelstra, and everybody just seems like we're all business. And personal never gets in the way of business. I felt like for Pat Riley, it got personal, and then the situation is going the way it is. Unfortunately, right now, one of the biggest storylines around the NBA is just Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Both sides, I think, have really hurt themselves. But let's look at a couple of these comments and go from there. Suns made themselves worse off than before. They traded a more valuable first-round pick for 3 late first-round picks of value. Don't mistake quantity for quality. They're not synonymous. You know what's funny with this comment right here? I think ultimately what the Phoenix Suns are doing, I don't think anybody thinks what they're doing is the right strategy, but I think the fact that they have chose a lane and said we're all in and we don't care what it costs, that's the only thing I think you probably give them respect for. Agree. Butler, once he moves, it won't matter. Butler will be traded. All right. People got some opinions on Jimmy Butler. And then there's also people just all over the place. Riley's almost 80. He's getting kind of grumpy. It could be that as well. Grab a super here real quick. Hey, Slee, if a trade happens, I think the Lakers need a big to start alongside AD and an athletic point guard to start. Thoughts? Richard, in a perfect example, they got, a couple of needs. If they can fulfill both of those needs, I think every Laker fan would sit back and just say, absolutely, that's the right move. We were talking about Lonzo because they need a point guard that can distribute and do some of those other things. We've talked about all the big men in the past, whether it's Walker Kessler, Robert Williams, Jonas Valanciunas. So I think a lot of people feel the same way. Got 2 weeks to make it happen. I think today is the 2-week mark of Lakers, or of the NBA trade deadline. So something to keep in mind there. Richard, thank you for the super, brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you for doing so. All right, let me read a couple more here, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to get to 110. 110, and then we're out of here. How do the Suns keep making monster moves with the new CBA? Nobody else can make these huge moves. Crazy. Yeah, I was reading this morning that in order for them to make this move for Jimmy Butler, they're going to need something like 3-4 team deal, something like that. It's very, very confusing. So don't get me wrong. It's not like I fully understand it, but they're also basically mortgaging future after future after future. Jovan said we can beat Denver in 4 to 5 games this year. He said they got a lot worse and we got better with DFS, possibly guarding Michael Porter Jr. Do you agree that we can beat Denver in 4 to 5 games? I I think Denver, losing Bruce Brown and then losing KCP is not the same team. But I also saw the Lakers get blown out by the Denver Nuggets earlier this year at Crypto. So I'm not going to make any predictions that the Lakers can beat Denver until we actually see that. So the Nuggets have the Lakers number, period. And a lot of people, used to make the argument that, well, they only lost all these games are so close, and because they're close, Lakers are in it. In the last 9 playoff games, Lakers have lost 8 of them. So I'm not going to jump on the wagon of I think the Lakers can beat the Denver Nuggets. Maybe you could say it's a more competitive series. Maybe you could say that, hey, there are some advantages at play. I like DFS on this Lakers team. I do feel like he's going to help. No question about it. But, I think the way I look at this squad and I look at this team, I think they got a long way to go before they're trying to beat the Denver Nuggets. And Denver just seems to have the Lakers number no matter what. Okay. I think we're done for the day. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Please subscribe to the channel. Back on tonight after the Lakers take on the Celtics. Excited to go to the game tonight. I'll be at the arena, and then I'll do the post-game show from Crypto. So it should be a fun vibe. Should be a good game, and hopefully the Lakers put up a good fight, because for all I know, this could be a good game in the fourth quarter, or we could all just be sitting back saying, I think it will be a good game. If I have to kind of make a prediction or a guess, we'll see who ends up playing for Boston, second of a back-to-back. But I think it will be a competitive game. Let's just put it that way. We'll see what happens. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Thank you to Sammy Long for coming on. Feel free to go on the channel and get that Lakers Celtics preview that Sammy put on there. Thank you, everybody. Have a great morning. And we will get with you guys tonight after Lakers and the Celtics. Thanks, everybody.